Anyway, hi guys. So tonight's reading is going to be discussing the abuse that you've gone through. We are going to be going through a lot of healing tonight. So with this energetic session and how much energy is going to be shifting and moving around, it's a good idea to get some extra rest after this. Take some extra time for self-care, maybe even a spiritual bath or shower, meditation, bed, things like that. Eat some fruit. That will help with increasing your vibration and your energy after this as well. So, thank you guys so much for being here tonight. Thank you guys for all the support you send my way, whether it be liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing, leaving timestamps on my other videos, or hitting that super thanks button, purchasing, donating, whatever it is that you guys do. Everything that you do helps me out so much. All of those things allow me to be able to take care of and support myself, as I'm here to help support you on your path. So really, I do appreciate it so much, you guys. You have no idea. Also, anybody who purchases any of the stuff off my Amazon list, that stuff goes towards helping the channel or working on my art or feeding myself, that kind of stuff. There's a lot of things to choose from on there. Let's get started with this reading. So, the types of abuse you've gone through. We are going to be discussing a fair amount of types of abuse here tonight, because these are all the types of abuse that came out when I was shuffling the cards. There's a lot of abuse that we're going to be discussing. If you don't see what you're going through, or if there isn't something involved in that section, even if you didn't go through that type of abuse, then you can always come back later and click ahead on other parts, and maybe you'll find different ones that do fit with you. So let's see what types of abuse we're going to be discussing first. I'm going to go ahead and do two at a time. Sexual harassment may trigger past assaults, PTSD, makes you feel at fault, makes you want to be invisible, or feel like you are alone and in danger, and like you need to get clean. One thing that really pops into mind for me, for some reason, one of them that really popped into mind for me. I really do not like somebody biting me when they're going down on me. Even just something playful, nope, nope. And I tell them all beforehand, because nope. And that goes back to my childhood with Three Stooges playing in the background. So I don't really tend to like them much either, although I really didn't like them much anyway. But yeah, there are certain things that may be being triggered at this time that have to deal with the sexual harassment that you've gone through throughout your life. There was one time where, when I was younger, I was 14 years old, and I was at the dentist's office, and he is staring in my eyes, literally staring in my eyes. And he's telling me about how beautiful my eyes are while he is sticking this needle in my mouth. And he stuck the needle right through the corner of my mouth, through the corner of my mouth. That fucking sore did not go away. It went all the way through my lip in the corner of my mouth. It didn't go away for about 3 months. All because that 56-year-old guy or so, maybe even 60, was staring in my fucking eyes telling me how beautiful they were as a child. There's been a lot of that throughout my life from a very young age. And even recently, in the last few years, there's been a bit of it. Last year, I had a for a couple years, and yeah, he was fairly narcissistic. He's pretty self-aware too. And this guy, I had told him repeatedly, if you're looking for anything more than a friendship, I can't give you anything more than a friendship. So you might as well just walk away. That's all I got for you. If you want a friendship, we got a friendship. That's about it. So right after me and Jeremiah started dating last year, we ended up going to the bar. And when we went to the bar, that guy was there. We were getting ready to take off. And he's like, hey, I gotta go talk to a friend of mine out back really quick. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna say bye to everybody, and then I'll meet you out back and we can take off. So I went over to say bye to him and gave him a hug. And when I gave him that hug, he would not let go of me. He held on to me. And it took me a minute to pull myself free from his grip. And then he's like, what? It's not like I was going to take you against your will or something. And I was like, really? If you were my friend, you wouldn't have even did that. Pretty much told him he could go fuck himself, and then I left. Since then, I've said hi to him in passing once, and that's about it. But those may be some of the things that are coming up for you at this time. After I went home that night, I was like, you know what? It took a lot to hold myself back on that one. And I swear, I feel like the next person who touches me like that, they're going to end up fucking dead. Just out of a response, a reactionary response. Awesome. Thank you, Bella. Definitely looking forward to seeing what your question is going to be. After you post payment, just throw your question down there and I will answer it between messages. Weaponized fear and intimidation. What exactly was I just talking about in that story? That's exactly what that was. It was weaponized fear and intimidation. He was literally trying to scare me. Although I was not afraid. I was fucking livid. Livid. Mr. Oh, I have no problem with that. And then to get that upset because of that. Anyway, makes you feel like you cannot escape. No one is there to help you. You are alone. They are more powerful. You have to follow their orders. The worst is to come. You can't find your way out. Makes you feel like they are God of the world in a way. You could have definitely dealt with a narcissistic person as well. A narcissistic person who's also sexually abused you. Why are you so valuable and loved? Awesome. I am definitely looking forward to answering that question. And I will answer it right after we do this section. So, people tried to cause you to be afraid, tried to intimidate you out of living your life. They used your past against you because I feel like you had a past filled with sexual abuse. If you are resonating with this section, you definitely had a past filled with some sort of sexual abuse. And because of that, people ganged up on you. They worked together to try to cause you so much fear and intimidation that you would not be able to live your life, that you would not even want to come out of your house. They tried to cause you to become a hermit. They tried to cause you to become somebody who had, I can't even think of it right now, and I know this word by heart because my mom went through it quite a bit a few years back. So, these people wanted you to have to rely solely on them in some sort of way as well. Or somebody did. And somebody may have paid people even to be attacking you in these ways to cause you to be so afraid that you wanted to go back home with your tail between your legs. Or something along those lines like that. The moon. The page of cups. The 10 of stakes. Somebody was a vampire that you have defeated. And if you haven't defeated these people yet, you are defeating these people. That takes me back to when I was younger, I had one dream between 10 and 12 and a half. That's it. One dream. I feel like my mind blocked them out because of what was going on at home. And that one dream that I had between 10 and 12 and a half, okay, I have this dream where I was kidnapped and in this shipping container with like 5 or 6 vampires that were gang raping me. Wow, what a dream for a 10 to 12-year-old to have. But anyway, if you have not defeated this yet, you will be. Because of these triggers and because of these people and because of everything that they are putting you through, you are no longer that fearful child shaking in a corner. You are ready to stand tall and stand strong. You are ready to face anything that comes your way, and you are ready to overcome it and defeat it. The burdens you once carried on your back are no longer a burden. They are a backpack filled with tools, tools that you can use to overcome, to achieve, to learn, and to grow. To be able to drop that weight that was weighing you down in the past and pick up this fucking roadmap to a place of being able to love like there is no scars on you anymore. Hidden in the background, there is somebody that wants to be able to apologize. To be able to apologize for the darkness they caused in your life. Somebody may want to apologize for the pain or hurt that they put you through. Somebody may want to apologize for their hidden actions. At this time, you're being asked to listen to and trust in your intuition and to also believe in the power that you have within you. It may be buried and it may be hidden, but it is. You have so much power within you. Another thing, I was thinking about this earlier tonight, embracing that dark side within you. Understanding that that dark side within you is there to protect the light within you. Without that dark side, that light would be vulnerable to everything around it. Everything. But because of that dark side, that beautiful, amazing dark side within you, you are able to fight. You are able to stand up against. You are able to do what you need to do and what is necessary to protect and defend yourself and those that you love, because that is a dark side. You can love me or you can hate me. Don't really care, but you will respect me. Webby, Chris Webby. Love me or hate me. So, conflicts, fighting for self. Fighting for self. Conflicts with fighting for yourself. Seeing the reasons behind your conflicts. Seeing why it has been so hard for you to fight for you throughout your entire life. Why it has been so hard for you to step up and stand up for you. Maybe you dealt with a lot of really dark people, which may be why you avoided your darkness or why you tried to hide it or why you didn't want to accept it or use it. Why you didn't want to embrace it. Maybe you dealt with people, pushed you to fight for others, but who scapegoated you or made you feel like you were the bad child. You want to know what my mom's song was for me as a kid? The one she dedicated to me? From the day I was born, the nurses all gathered round, and they gazed in wild wonder at the joy they had found. The head nurse spoke up. She said, "Leave this one alone." She could tell right away that I was bad to the bone. Really? I was the scapegoat child in that family. I was the servant in that family. Learning to pay attention to the red flags. Fear comes from within. Tart, conflict, drama, learning the hard way. So you have had to go through a lot of hard lessons throughout your life. You have had to really deal with a lot. But I feel like a lot of you may not have had anybody around to teach you in a lot of ways as well. And that's part of the reason why you've had to learn the hard way, because you had to do a lot of it alone. You are very self-made. Light family, happy family, emotional fulfillment. Emotional work pays off with an abundance of love, choosing love. Wishes granted, peace, happiness, inheritance. Magical love, strong, equality, bond. That's been coming up a lot lately. Happy family, emotional completion, fulfillment. Enough love to go around. So, you're coming into a time period of there being a lot of emotional fulfillment, a lot of happiness, a lot of joy, very high vibrations, a lot of peace and love vibrating off of you and coming back to you as well. From Idaho. Well, I'm from Nevada. Technically, I was born in Arizona, but I grew up in Nevada. Awesome. Thank you so much, beautiful. Why are your enemies intimidated by you? Because I laugh in the face of danger. And you mean it. You're not very afraid of anything. I am definitely going to enjoy doing that one too. Emotional regulation is needed. Understand your emotions and your triggers. Reduce your vulnerability to emotions and address and change anything that you feel is unwanted or overly reactive responses to the outside factors. I went through a lot of this myself over the last couple years. It has been really hard, extremely hard, to not be triggered by a certain person in my life, because that person knows me better than anybody on this planet, and they have used everything that they know to try to tear me down in whatever way they can, because they feel like I betrayed them, which is really funny because they were the ones that betrayed me. But that's what happens in narcissism. They blame others for betraying them after they betrayed them. They turn the entire thing around. They believe in illusion. And a lot of that is because they cannot accept anything less than perfection from themselves. Because whatever parent they had chose to tell them they were perfect, chose to see them as perfect, and chose to tell them that they loved them so much because they were perfect. And also did not love anything that wasn't perfect. So this person has a desire to be perfect more than anything in the fucking world. And anything that tries to get in the way of that is something that must go. It would be a really sad life to have to live, living up to such high standards from those that you love to even be loved, and from yourself. And to deep down hate yourself because of the masks you're wearing and the things that you're having to hide from everyone that you love most in this world. Because you can never show them your true face because they would hate you. I actually had somebody a couple years ago, she started bawling and she's like, if you knew who I really was and all of the things that I've done, you would never love me the way that you love me. You couldn't. You'd never look at me the same. You would hate me. I never hated her. And I know a lot of the things she's done to me since then and before then, but I don't hate her. She is a beautiful person with so many amazing things about her. I hope one day she sees them, because then she may be a very different person. Time to practice mindfulness. I have a feeling she's going to go through a lot in the near future. Be aware of the present moment and observe. Try to respond and not react. So when it comes to dealing with something that is pissing you off, something that is your feelings or draining you or causing you to be in a very different energy than you would like to be in. It's Keeping Me Alive. Great song. I don't know who sings it though. That anger may be fueling you, driving you, keeping you alive. You may feel like you would just kind of fall apart without it. You may feel a very heavy desire to defend yourself. You don't have anything to prove to anyone, including yourself. And the story will all unfold and be seen, regardless of whether or not you scream it to the rooftops. And when you start screaming to the rooftops, 99% of the time, those people are going to hate you for it anyway. They're not going to believe you anyway. They're going to walk away. They're going to, they're going to take the other person's side because they think that you're just trying to turn them against the other person's and blah, 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 blah. And you're actually going to make your case even worse. So you are better off holding your head high, walking your talk and focusing on your own lane and letting everything play out by itself and letting everything be uncovered by itself. Then there will be less pain in how it's uncovered as well. So, let's see. Why are you so valuable and loved? Your heart and your mind. You think very differently than other people. You have also been very dark at points in your life, but you have chosen to find your soul, chosen to go after it and fight as hard as you could to get that love and light back into your life. The compassion, understanding, empathy, and forgiveness that you have for others and their dark side. Because you can see things from a darker perspective than a lot of light beings can. A lot of people vibrating high that have not been through that darkness like that can be extremely judgmental at times. They also have a really hard time seeing how somebody could do some of the things that you have ran into in people. But you understand. You understand the pain, you understand the hurt. You understand where it comes from when others have lashed out at you and attacked you in ways. You have been able to sit and converse with them, and you've been able to tell them what they need to do to turn things around. Example, somebody had a big problem with accepting no a few years back. Told him no like 50 times. He was at my house. We had been friends for about 2 years, and he was at my house, and I hadn't seen him in about 7 months. He had started a new relationship, and she had gotten pregnant. And at that point, she was about 8 months pregnant. And I was like, are you sure that you're not just here because she is not having sex with you and you're just looking to validate yourself from somewhere outside yourself? And so anyway, one thing leads to another. And it had been a while since I had faced that situation. I ended up giving in. And I am a damn good actress when I want to be. Ended up giving in. And about 5 or 6 months later, which really made things really confusing too. It's amazing how confusing it can make it for you when you let something like that happen. So a couple months later, he shows up at my house at like 2 in the morning. And same thing is going on. He has all of his clothes off, and he's like trying to take my clothes off as I'm putting them back on, and I'm telling him no. Tried pretty much everything. Then my knife fell out of my pocket, and he's like, were you going to stab me? And I was like, I'll put it this way. For the last 5 minutes, I have very heavily contemplated it. And he's like, what? And I was like, yeah. What do you expect? I've said no like 50 fucking times. I have tried everything to get you to stop. I've even cried and you haven't stopped. And he's like, well, how come you wanted to last time, but you don't this time? I was like, if you would have listened to the first 50 no's last time, and known I didn't want to then either. I had forgotten somewhere along the way that there are worse things in this world than dying. And it's letting something like that happen because of fear or because of whatever reason. So he approached me again about 8 months ago, 10 months ago, something like that. And pretty sure, honestly, somebody put something in my drink that night too. I got home. I left the bar and got home because he was at the bar. And generally, I really didn't care. But that night, I was just like, don't want to be around this shit. I'm just going to go home. So I left and went home. I get home, and my fucking phone isn't there. And I'm like, oh, shit. All my work is on my phone. I got to go to the bar and get my damn phone. So I head back down there. And at this point, it's like 10 minutes to closing time, so nobody's in there anymore except him and the bartender. And he's like, hey, wait, are you okay? You already went home. What's up? And I was like, I'm looking for my phone. And walked past him, and he's like, well, you could ask the bartender. I was like, that's where I was headed. Went up there, asked him if he had seen a phone at all. Nope, he didn't see a phone, so I'm leaving. And I get all the way down to the corner by the time the corner of the street by the time he catches up to me. And he's like, well, you could retrace your steps home. I was like, that's what I'm doing. And he's like, did you want me to go with you? And I leaned against the wall because all of a sudden my vision started checkerboarding and shit. So he ends up walking me back to my place. And I ended up throwing up about 10 times because my body's like, get whatever the fuck that is out of you. And because I really didn't have much to drink that night either. Definitely not more than normal. So he is trying to convince me that what he did was rape. Coercion rape, by the way, is rape. And there's a reason for that, especially with around with PTSD. And he's got his hands on me. He's like, if you don't want me touching you, all you got to do is say stop. And I told him in the middle of throwing up to get his hands off me. And he still fucking has his hands on me. Finally, I'm done throwing up. And I was like, see, this is exactly what I fucking mean. I just told you to keep your fucking hands off me. And yet your hands are still on me. What you did that night was rape. You need to fucking admit it to yourself. You need to admit it to yourself, and then you need to stop fucking hating yourself for it, and then you need to not ever do it again. But it was rape. And so he's like, I'm going to call your phone. Calls my phone, and it's sitting right behind him. Imagine that. So he hands it to me, and he leaves. And all fucking 3 days, I'm like, I'm going to go into the bar next week, and if I see him, I am going to kick him in the fucking balls. That is literally what I want to do. So, as the days went by, I go into the bar, and I see him, and I walk up to him, and I was like, I don't know what it is you feel for me, but I do not have the same feelings for you. Period. Bottom line. If you ever touch me again, you will be dead or I will be going to the police, whichever comes first. So, that story felt like it really needed to come out in that moment. People love you because you are not afraid of things that they have unnecessary fears for. I feel like you are not afraid of the things that they have not went through that you have. And that you have fought your way through hell and back. Also, the fact that you have been able to repair and bring peace to friendships or connections where there has been very severe damage done in those situations. Sorry about that. Anyway, people are also, they find you very lovable because of your ability to be able to make decisions. Oh, now it turned around. So people find you very lovable because of your ability to be able to make decisions. Also, your ability to be able to fight for yourself, to stand up for yourself, to defend yourself. Your ability to tell people the truth. The truth about themselves. And also to be able to see the truth about you. Going over the details. Seeing new things that you missed. Manipulation, games, ego. Fixated, logical, stuck on something or someone. Smart, analytical, mature communicator. Time to speak the truth. Overly obsessed, manipulative, controlling. People love your ability to be able to speak the truth about the trauma, the damage, the pain, the hurt, and the abuse that you have been through. About the decisions you made in those moments, about how you fought your way out, and about everything that you are really. Just a very intelligent person. A very intelligent person who can communicate things in ways that people can understand them. And you always make the decision to speak the truth about situations, people, places, things that have happened. And there's been a few people that I've actually warned about him and his behavior as well. I've told fucking everybody. Court of public opinion wasn't quite as amazing as I thought it was going to be. But who cares? Because you know what? At least I let people fucking know to watch out, what to watch out for, right? And I feel like you do a lot of that in your world. So, for your second question, I'm going to read your other comments first really quick. Your life has been very hard due to bullying and harassment from middle school to college. I tell people all the time, birth till now. Because that's literally birth till now. It's just been, whew. It's finally kind of changing a little bit. Thank you, beautiful. Been in a similar situation before. Yeah. That's the nice part about telling those stories, and that's why people love you so much for it. Because as you share those stories, not only do you heal more, but people around you heal. They heal from your perspectives, from your understandings, and also they want to express their stories more. They want to let it out more. They want to grow and learn and shift and change. And they also see and believe that there can be new life after that death. Yes, exactly. And no, you do not sound, people fucking love it when you do that. They love it when you do that. There's one person in particular who really brings that fucking energy out in me. Like bad. And one guy was sitting there listening to me one night when he called me after I had walked away from him for like the third time. And I'm yelling at him on the phone, not completely yelling at him, but, you know, aggressively talking very loud and cruelly. I wasn't like calling him names or anything like that, but I was definitely hitting points and hitting home on everything below the belt. And this guy's like, that's exactly what I love about you. And I'm like, I don't want to be anybody's fucking mom. God, why do I gotta be everybody's fucking mom? But they love that. Weirdly. So, why are your enemies intimidated by you? Once again, I laugh in the face of danger. Ha 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 ha. I feel like you have been in some pretty dangerous situations, pretty harsh situations, and fuck, it's kind of like all my life I've watched really scary movies, and you know, there's only one that actually kind of got to me a little bit. Mirrors with Kevin Bacon. That one kind of got to me a little bit. The rest of them, it's like, eh. I fucking laughed through the It movie in the theater recently, and my ex got so mad at me because he was jumping at parts that I was laughing at. I'm sorry. But you know what? I've seen so much in my life that that shit don't scare me. It's not even real. It's just there, you know? And so, yeah, that is definitely something that is very common with you too. Taking the time to enjoy life. Even with all this chaos, drama, and crap that they're bringing into your world, you are taking the time to enjoy life. You're taking the time to enjoy life, and you're still ahead of a lot of people. And of course, you're ahead of a lot of people because guess what? When you're taking that time for rest, when you're taking that time for play, when you're taking that time to recuperate and regenerate yourself and to feel good about life, you're going to be doing good in life. You're going to be doing better in life. There's people who work 24/7 and they're doing less good than you, and they can't understand why they do so much, yet it's not going anywhere. And that's why. Meditation, meditating on the future, setting your goals, rest and reflection, work like magic to show you your path in life. Inner growth, learning, taking a break, resting, reflection, and learning to enjoy life more. So, people are intimidated by you because you're learning how to enjoy life more, because you're figuring out what your purpose is, and because you are putting your goals and your plans into action. You are on top of shit and you are taking care of shit and you're turning your life around and you're creating something beautiful for yourself. They don't have any control over you anymore. They are watching you play, have fun, go out, enjoy life. These could be people that have been very jealous of you. These could be people that have been taking things from you, stealing things from you. Sad to say, these people could have even been trying to push you to commit suicide or planning to make it look like one. They wanted you to be in a very down energy. They wanted you to be hating life. They wanted you to be miserable. They wanted you to be seething. They wanted you to be hurting. This person was somebody that said some really nasty things to you, could have always been trying to tear you down in some way. They may have even been a friend at one time. Hi, Pearl Parker. I am doing a karma reading for the collective, and in between, I'm answering questions for people for 555 or 1010 for 2. So, the light after the darkness. They are afraid because of how bright you are shining after all that darkness, after all that despair. You may have even been in a suicidal energy at one point, or just miserable, hiding, afraid, alone, paranoid, possibly even not really wanting to connect to anybody, not really wanting to open up to anybody, not wanting to be around anybody. But you have broken free from that, and you have broken free from that with so much fucking wisdom, it's ridiculous. You're exposing a lot of truths, and along with those truths, you are teaching people. You are teaching people how to fly high, how to open up, how to stand up for themselves, and how to spread the word that they are there if somebody else needs it too. There may actually be a fair amount of people that have been in on whatever abuse has been taking place, and they are intimidated by you. You could live in a very small town. They are intimidated by you because you are lifting up the abused. You are shining a light on the abusers, and you are changing the dynamics in the way that things work to where things do not work in their favor anymore. They cannot get away with the things that they were getting away with in the past because they're being uncovered and exposed. Invisibility, authenticity, trick or treat, mischief, and play. They are intimidated by you because they didn't even see you coming. Also because you are able to blend in with anyone, anywhere. You observe things. Sometimes you observe things very unseen, very unnoticed. They underestimated you, your value, your worth, and also how much you can impact the world around you. They may also be intimidated by you because you can just cut people off very easily. And also because underneath this mask you wear, you have a dark side. And it may not even be a mask you wear so much as that dark side's just hidden deep. They may also be intimidated by you because they may have thought that you were somebody who had a very easy life until they uncover what has happened behind the scenes. And then they're like, oh, holy shit, this person has gone through all this and they're still this high functioning, this mentally stable, this emotionally fit, and vibrating this high. So they definitely have a reason to be quaking in their stylish yet portable boots. Nah, you're not too strong. Although there can be too detached and too unable to be open to have other people connect to you. And also, There can be having a hard time connecting with your feminine energy and just being able to be open to receiving, being able to open your door to love. You may give a lot of love, but it may be hard for you to accept it back in. Yeah, I was thinking you live in a small town, and it's a small town that has a lot of fucking skeletons in those closets, and all those skeletons are fucking falling out at this point. You're welcome, beautiful. And yes, I do have time. I'm probably going to be on here for about another half an hour, 45 minutes, so you can go ahead and questions down there, all that kind of good stuff, and I will answer them after this next section. Physical abuse. Power was taken with strength, feelings of weakness, and a need for control. Mental and emotional abuse, fear tactics, manipulation, isolated in fear. I just listened to a story from someone tonight that was extremely heartbreaking about something that their mother did to them, which actually was not even close to the worst things that she had done to him. But this specific one had to do with physical abuse because he refused to do damage to someone else who had done damage to him. Mental and emotional abuse, fear tactics, manipulation, isolated in fear. So this person and this situation that you dealt with, you were isolated away from the world in some way. You were possibly taken to a new town where you didn't know anybody, taken away from your family or your friends in some way. My mom's boyfriend that molested me and my younger sister, you know, he was perfect. Didn't drink, didn't smoke, didn't gamble, didn't do drugs, didn't cheat, had a decent place to live. It was always clean. It was fucking perfect. I've known since a very young age that when something looks perfect from the outside, generally there's so much more decay on the inside. Decay that's far worse than the rest of the decay. Kind of like those skeletons falling out of the small town's closet. Because that small town looks so perfect, but it sure as fuck ain't. Because I live in one myself. And, anyway, not many people could stand to be around him very long. He made them feel uncomfortable. He made them feel like they weren't wanted there. Things like that. Slowly, everyone in our lives disappeared until it was just him, my mom, and us. And then the harassment of my mom and where she worked began. Because my mom worked as a cocktail waitress, and in those days, you were required to wear heels. You were required to wear a skirt that showed your ass. You were required to wear this, or a skirt that, did I say skirt or shirt? A skirt that showed your ass. A shirt that showed your boobs, basically. And then you had every guy there thinking that you were just a hooker and they can shove money and keys in your hands all night to try to get you to come up to their fucking room. So she had to deal with a lot of sexual harassment while she was there. But anyway, every night when she was walking out to the parking lot, if there was anybody that stopped her and talked to her, anything like that, they'd get in a big fat argument all the way home. Things like that until the point that she quit her job. And then she was just completely isolated from the world and had no money as well. So now financial abuse begins too. So anyway, these are some of the things that you may have went through leading up to the physical abuse starting. Now that there's nobody there to help you, now that there's no way for you to escape, now that they have slowly broken you down over time and built it up to this level, while at the same time creating that codependency on them, especially because of the mental and emotional abuse as well. And it could have even been with your parents as well. Child of an addict, drugs and alcohol was most important, and everything else was second place. Everything else comes second place to their addiction. First off, that alone is mental and emotional abuse. When everything comes second to their addiction, so do you. That also means that they would not be above selling you for their addiction, whatever the case may be, or using you in some way to provide for them something so that they could make sure to provide for their addiction. Neglect and invisibility. Not seen, not heard, not noticed. Scapegoat, yep, gaslighting. Always to blame. Apologizes for being self. Twists and changes and turns and bends every fucking story in your life to the point that it is nothing like what actually happened. And you start to question whether or not the way you remember it is what happened or the way they're telling it. You start questioning if you're the bad guy here, if you're really responsible for their actions and behavior. My fucking ex, God, her kids are so fucking brainwashed at this point. It's fucking crazy. Because, he's gaslighting king. Possessive, controlling, manipulative. Yeah, king. At the same time, there's some good things about him, and he does love his kids. Part of the reason he's doing the stupid shit he's doing. Same with what he did with me. Doesn't want him to leave. But year before last, just before Christmas and Thanksgiving, started a fight with me. One of those times with the triggering that we were talking about earlier, where it was really fucking hard at that point for me to contain myself and the reactions that I was giving to the shit he was doing. He started saying something about how I had lied to our kids. And I was like, I haven't lied to our kids. I told them the truth. You're the one who has issues with telling them the fucking truth. And so that's why you want them to believe that I've been lying to them. So we get in this big fight. And in the middle of it, my daughter in the back seat is screaming and covering her ears because she doesn't want to hear it anymore. And she has a lot of problems with different noises or with like people singing or people arguing or, anything like that. And my other daughter's like, if you guys are going to argue, you should at least take it outside. So we go outside with it. And she follows us, by the way, because she wants to be a part of it and listen to it. So in the middle of us going outside and we get out there, he's like, the only reason I put my fucking hands on you in that kitchen was because you wouldn't shut your fucking mouth. Really? I was like, that is no excuse. Period. Bottom line. The only reason you should be putting your hands on somebody is if they put them on you first. And even after you put your hands on me, I still didn't put mine on you. Your behavior is on you. The way you acted is on you, not on me. I am not to blame for you doing what you did. My daughter to this day swears up and down he never said that. So, that is what scapegoating somebody looks like. Narcissistic abuse, ego and insecurity projected as an inflated sense of self. And it's insecurities. It's insecurities. It's worry about not being perfect. It's worry about not being perfect, about not being able to be what you are presenting to the world, about others seeing your true face, about people seeing that you are not the hero of the story, that you have been the villain in this case. I have no problem admitting that I have been the villain in some cases, because everybody has, first off. But second off, I was going through a lot. That's not an excuse. That's just a fucking fact. I was going through a lot. And because I was going through, that dark side came out. And that dark side is fucking ugly. But once you see that dark side, once you admit it's there, once you acknowledge it, once you notice its presence, once you work to heal some of those things, that dark side becomes a very good ally to have in the fight. Because without that dark side, once again, you cannot protect and defend yourself or those that you love. You cannot stand up against the injustices in this world without that dark side being there too, first off, so you can see the dark side. Because if you're ignoring yours and not seeing yours, you're not seeing anybody else's either. But also, Because that dark side is what gives you that fight. It's what gives you that anger that you feel that drives the motivation to make changes and make differences in this world. Sexual abuse again. And there's been a few times I've thought about telling you guys, go check out the first part of the message too. Abuse, rape, molestation, using or making threats, force, or taking advantage of an inability to consent. So there might have actually been one or two of you here that was drugged. I recently experienced that myself. Somebody drugged me. And this time it actually worked. I lost about 5 or 6 hours of time and came out of it with some hallucinations going on. It started out as a consensual experience. And then all of a sudden, whatever was given to me kicked in. The telepathic conversation I had with somebody recently revealed a lot. So, somebody did not give a flying fuck what you felt, what you wanted, how they were affecting you. All they saw was themselves and doing for them whatever they needed to do for them to make them feel good. And they used you to do that. They used you to make themselves feel good, which was not an okay thing in any way, shape, or form. But that is what happened. New friendship, new love. My best friend brings out the best of me. Cute, fun, flirty, emotional connection. The sad part is you may have felt extremely connected to this person. You may have had a very strong friendship with them. You may have thought that this was a peaceful, harmonious, balanced situation, then all hell broke loose and everything shifted overnight. Narcissists are really good at being whatever you want. Your innermost dreams, desires, and happiness, and putting it all right in front of you. It's like one of those, if something looks too good to be true, it probably is. Not always. But with a narcissist, you can be damn sure it is. It's a fake picture presented to lure people in. There was an experience I went through like that not too long ago as well, where it was a very covert narcissist, where he was extremely good to me, although he was not good to anybody else in this world. And it was like the dream life for about a month and a half. And then he was really upset that I was not upset when things ended. And he's like, but I used you. He did everything he could to try to cause me to be miserable after things ended. And I was just like, nah, I'm good. I'm good. I was enjoying what we had while we had it. And it's cool. I knew it wasn't going to last. That's okay. And he's just like, what? What? This did not work out how I expected it to work out. This wasn't supposed to be this way. I can understand that when it's hard to take it in and hard to accept that love, hard to be in that feminine energy, especially when you have had to fight for you for so long. You don't fucking need anybody to fight for you. You can fight for you. You don't need anybody to be there for anything. You got this shit. But at the same time, as I was telling somebody the other day, if you want to not be the giver who has all the takers around you that just take some accountability and start accepting. When somebody says, hey, I can do this for you, be like, thank you, I appreciate that. Instead of, no, I got this. I got this. I don't need nobody. Don't help me. You're refusing those blessings and those gifts that are coming your way. And yes, I have been there. Looks can definitely be very deceiving. And I'm not sorry about it. Even though, yes, it did suck. And even though, yes, it did hurt me and all that kind of stuff, I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry because I wouldn't be here talking to you tonight. if it wasn't for him. Just like without Judas, there'd be no Jesus. Without that guy, there'd be no me. Without the people who have hurt you, there would be no you. All those things that are lovable and valuable about you that we were just discussing, a good majority of them, well, all of them, came from everything that you've experienced in your life leading up till now. And if it wasn't for those experiences that you have and have had, you would not be you. And you would not be that lovable and valuable person in everyone's life. So I'm not sorry about what I went through or that he did that. I am sorry that he was made into the monster he was by the life he went through, and that he chose that path instead of choosing the path of releasing that darkness and not carrying on that cycle to somebody else. I am also, he served his time. He got his karma. The first weekend he was in jail, somebody beat him with a mop handle and sodomized him. And I did have to go to that first court hearing. I guess I didn't really have to, but they took me. They didn't even ask me if I wanted to go. And I got to see him like that. Regardless of what he did to me, a part of me cried inside because of what had happened to him. And he went through 20 years of that. Although he was in a special prison facility when he got moved to prison, which is more for housing people like him so they don't die in there, which, yeah, they sure do spend a lot of time protecting them. And I'll say this much, Nevada doesn't do much to help the victims afterwards, even though they're supposed to. So, you've had to walk away from situations that you had a lot of emotions invested into, that you've had a lot of love for. You've really spent so much of your life fighting. But at this time, you are ready to walk away from that fight, to put your fucking sword down, to let go of the defensiveness, to let go of the pain of the past. I feel like this person may actually be having their ass royally beat. They're going to get really fucked up for the pain that they put you through. Somebody may even come into your defense and decide that they deserve a good ass beating to show them what not to be doing to people. To show them what it's like to have somebody bigger and stronger than you beating on you. Somebody may even get raped during this encounter as well, because somebody really wants to take that point home, especially if you were sexually assaulted by somebody. Justice is coming in your favor. As you have walked away from this situation, put your fucking sword down, opened yourself up to that feminine energy, and allowed others to give to you, allowed yourself to receive, allowed yourself to just go with the flow instead of feeling like you need to control things or feeling like you need to take that action, feeling like you need to defend yourself or whatever the case may be. You're just letting it go and allowing it to be what it is. And as that happens, that's when this karma is going to be taking place. So, some karma card to see just what it is that they are going to be dished out here. Somebody may go to jail as well. Others make false claims on them as they did on you. So they scapegoated you. They used you as their bad guy in the scenario. They played victim. They cried to everybody and told them how cruel you were, how abusive you were, how you hurt them so much. My ex actually told my kids as well that that I left him even though he still loved me, and he is never going to be with anybody again. First off, because he doesn't want anybody to hurt them, but also because he loves. Boy, talk about making me the bad guy. Not to mention the fact that he told his family that the only person who did any cleaning or any yard work around that house was him, and I was a lazy bitch and all this other fucking bullshit. The only thing he fucking did was go to work and come home. He was supposed to be doing the dishes and the trash. Those got done once every 2 to 3 weeks. He helped out with the yard once every 6 months, maybe, to help me get it back under control because it had fallen way the fuck out. I did a little bit in between, but when you're doing fucking everything, you really don't have time for everything. So everything is piling up around you all the damn time. You feel like a failure. Everybody looks at you as one. Even the only reason everything's going like that is because there's nobody on your fucking team. They're all too busy drilling fucking holes in your ship so it sinks. Setup for trying to set you up. Plus, he also he got scared at one point. So he called the police after disappearing with my kids for 3 fucking days. He called the police and told them that I was abusing them and had me thrown out of my fucking house in the middle of the night in the middle of January. In a town where didn't really know anybody, didn't really have any friends, had no family. And he also took everything out of my fucking purse first. Really planned it out, calculated it. Roadblock keeps them stuck in place. Everything they have done will be returned to sender. Severe anger issues, emotional suppression exploding like a volcano. So this person may act like a robot 99% of the time. Everything's okay. Everything's fine. I have no emotions and I'm never going to show any of them. I'm not going to express that anything's wrong ever. I'm not going to say anything about anything ever. And this person is going to have a explosion at the wrong time. Everybody's going to be there to witness it. Like I said, somebody may actually end up going to jail as well. Everybody's going to be there to witness it, or they're going to have this explosion with the wrong person. And this person is going to tear the asshole. Damn, wow. That is going to the possibility of rape. And I wouldn't wish that on anybody, honestly. I really wouldn't. As much fucked up things as my ex did to me, honestly, I wish he would just fucking heal. Because if he would heal, it would be better for me, it would be better for my kids, it would be better for the collective, it would be better for everyone if he would just heal. Everything will be made clear. So, you are going to be having some realizations about things. You're going to be understanding things more fully. And everyone is going to be seeing the truth. There's not going to be a fog of illusion around anything anymore. Everything's going to be coming out and everything's going to be being seen very clearly. And since all their lies are being exposed, and since everybody is seeing all these things that they tried to keep hidden, when these people make these claims on them, they're going to have to fight with everything in them to prove that they're telling the truth, and they still may not be believed at the end of the day because everybody already knows everything else they've done. So, some extra ways that you can heal and deal with these situations. Never feel like you are a victim. You are a survivor. Do not let others define you. Define yourself. Stand up for yourself. Stand up for others. Stand up for what is right. Let your desire to heal guide you in overcoming the past. Accept what was. Forgive yourself and others, knowing that this will remove the head burden that the shadow of blame has caused in your life. You are everything that was not given to you. You are love, light, and wisdom. Pulling yourself out of the darkness is no easy task. Be proud of your progress. Not everyone makes it out that other side. A lot of people visit that dark side and stay there for the rest of their lives. In that void, in that emotionless place, in that pit of despair, in that place of hurting everyone and everything around them and watching it all turn to shit because of the hurt, the pain, the darkness. So the fact that you were able to step back out of that into the sunlight is fucking amazing, and you should be proud of yourself. You should be proud of your accomplishments, even if it's just getting up out of bed in the morning after a bout of depression, or to pull yourself out of that bout of depression or that void that you are stuck in, is an amazing accomplishment. People who took your power blamed you, but you don't have to accept that distorted reality. You don't have to accept being the scapegoat. And you don't have to give a flying fuck what anybody thinks either. People who are abusive always blame the survivor to shift that focus. They always blame the survivor. My mom's boyfriend, you want to know his reason for his excuse for molesting me? Because I was always wearing shirts to bed, like big baggy shirts, because I was always wearing shirts to bed. Because he was washing my hair in the bathtub. Because I was always cuddling on him and hugging him. You were my fucking stepdad. You were my dad figure in my life. Of course I'm fucking hugging you, you moron. That doesn't give you any right to abuse your power. Your Power by Billie Eilish. Don't abuse your power. She was going to school. She was just a little girl. She was somebody who was supposed to listen to you, her authority figure. She looked up to you. She loved you. And you used that power and authority to abuse her and use her and throw her in the trash and then throw her under the bus so that you could try to pretend like you were innocent in some way. Don't be ashamed to share your scars. You are not what happened to you. You are what you chose to be. Your journey is what made you, not what defines you. Very insightful way to look at all these past hurts. They all made us stronger. Yeah. I've seen one robot do that. He fucking blacked out while he was stone cold sober. I watched his eyes shift, and I watched him shift back when I took my power back and told him exactly what I thought of it, and it just fucking whew, right back the other way. Sometimes it is hard to see or to deal with the truth. If others didn't believe, it could be because they can't handle the reality, and that's not your problem. You know what's true. It could also be that they knew you were telling the truth, that they knew what was going on the whole time, and they never did a damn thing to stop it. They never cared. Or they just never had the balls, and they can't face that. They can't tell you that. They don't want to have to look at the fact that they stood by and allowed whatever was going on to happen and never stepped in. Had a lot of people like that in my life that either never stepped in or took the side of the other people, even though they were right there when whatever happened. His best friend was there one of the nights he blew up like that. And as I was picking up the pieces of the glass that or the bowl from the glass from the bowl that he had broken in the kitchen before he stormed out of the house, that was when he took off with my kids for those 3 days. His best friend came over and was helping me pick it up, and I was shaking and just kind of slid down against the fridge to the floor, and I was like, I'm sorry. Like somehow it was my fault. And he's like, this wasn't your fault. It wasn't your fault. Helped me finish getting that cleaned up, and then he took off. And he was right there in that courtroom with him that day. to testify for him, to say that I abused my kids. Pretty sad. But some people feel like loyalty to your best friend is the most important thing instead of doing what's right. Instead of telling your best friend they're a piece of shit and they shouldn't have been doing what they were doing. Interpersonal effectiveness. Getting interpersonal objectives met, maintaining relationships, and increasing your self-respect in interactions with others. So, you are really starting to get better with interpersonal situations. I can't think of the word I was going to say there. You're getting better at that. You're getting better at getting your objectives met. You're getting better at expressing what you want or what you need in a situation, at putting your foot down when you need to put your foot down, and doing it in a way that is not causing more problems, but is actually solving the problems and bringing more peace and harmony into your connections. You have been increasing your self-respect, loving yourself more, giving to yourself more. And if you haven't been doing that, this is the time to start doing that. This is the time to start. What would you do to respect someone else? So if you would do something out of respect for someone else, then shouldn't you be expecting others to treat you with that same respect? Somebody a while back was constantly like touching at my energy, and and I was touching at her energy, and she's like, I really don't like it when you do that. Please don't do that. And I was like, okay, no problem. I won't do that. And then she started doing it again, so I did it again. And she's like, I thought you said you weren't going to do that. And I was like, if you don't want me to do it to you, then you don't do it to me. Because if you do it to me, I will do it back to you. So don't do it to me. And she's like, okay, I won't. She never did again. Because, yeah, that's not okay. If you don't want me to do those things, then don't do them to me. Otherwise, it's free game. And that's the way you got to be with people. Because otherwise, they will walk on you. People are opportunists. If you want to get technical, people, parasite do. A parasite feeds on its host to a level of greed that breaks down and destroys its host. And on top of that, they breed continuously. They multiply and multiply and multiply and destroy whatever it is that they land on until there's nothing left. And people are that way in a lot of ways. They will take what they can get, and that's every one of us. They will take what they can get. So if you don't tell them what respect is to you, they don't know how to respect you. You can't expect them to. And if you tell them how to respect you and they still don't, you walk the fuck away. Because they do not deserve to be in your energy, because that is you respecting you. You respecting you requires you to walk away from the people that are disrespecting you and that have no intention of changing their behavior towards you to a more respectful manner. Some people will and some people won't. But chances are every relationship that you ever come into contact with, you will have to explain to somebody what respect is to you. RESPECT. Find out what it means to me. Why do you think that song's there? Because people don't know what it means to you till they find out what it means to you. So, Southern Belle Law, to your questions. What will Justin B's karma be for cheating on you in the future? I was just thinking about Justin Bieber. Didn't he cheat on... I think he cheated on his girlfriend. And I think he also had a lot of interactions with police and drugs after that, too. What is his karma for cheating on you in the future? We have 7 of Wands. Setting boundaries. Honesty and freedom. Yeah. Committed to truth. Fighting for what you want, thoughts-wise. Fighting for what you believe in. Leaving behind confusion. activist, protection, leaving behind shame, guilt, or sadness, gaining emotional mastery. So, he is going to have to fight to defend himself on every level. He is going to constantly have people that are distrusting him and his word. He is going to go through a lot of experiences with people where they are overstepping his boundaries, where they are using him or abusing him in some way. And he's going to have to stand up for himself. He is going to have to fight for what he feels is right. He's going to have to fight for his freedom. It's very possible that he's going to have to fight for his freedom, that he's going to be facing something to do with the law, and he's going to have to fight for his freedom in some way. As he goes through these things, he is going to level up. He is going to learn from this experience. That's what karma is supposed to be. It's supposed to be something that teaches you. So this person is going to learn his lesson. This is a divinely guided path for him. Coming into contact with you, treating you the way that he did, this was something that was supposed to happen on both sides. It was supposed to happen so both of you could level up in the ways that you needed to. So that you could both learn how to defend yourselves, and so that you could both learn how to act on what it is that you want, instead of pretending you want something that you don't, because there's less conflict in it. Also, you are learning how to trust in your intuition more, because I feel like you knew before you actually found proof or found out. If you're like me, you like to stick around to look for the proof and the truth because you want to know. I just got to figure you out. Mercules, there's a song by Mercules. I can't remember exactly which one it is, but he's like, I just got to figure you out, figure you out, figure you out. And as I'm singing it one day, my daughter's like, no, you don't. Why do you got to figure them out? And I was like, because I want to know. Sadness, hurt, shame, regret, and guilt plagues them for how they treated you. Then again, how does any scientist, doctor, psychologist, anything in this world actually learn, grow, and make the changes in this world that they do, or make the advancements in their field that they do? Because they want to know. So they go searching for the answers. When you hear me, you go searching for the answers of why people behave the way that they do. What's going on underneath the surface? What happened in their past? Why are they the way they are? What do they feel about certain things? Things like that. I dig. Sadness, hurt, shame, regret, and guilt plagues them for how they treated you. Yeah, exactly. This person, the experiences that they're getting ready to go through are going to make them realize how much they took you for granted, how fucking amazing you were, and how much they did not deserve you. And as I say that, I remember that everyone deserves love. But this person does not feel like they do. They won't be feeling like they do. Which also means they're going to be accepting in a lot of things that are not love. They're going to be feeling a lot of shame. They're not even to go. And I was working really hard at that point. It was 6 months after I had left my ex-husband. And this guy came waltzing into my life. It was like throwing fucking water in front of man in a desert. It's amazing the beauty that he brought into my life, the life he brought in, the joy he brought in, the fun, the connection, the friendship. It was beautiful, and at the same time fucking awful. But at that time I really didn't care. We were screwing around. I started it one day. He was on shrooms and laughing his ass off on my couch, and yeah, couldn't take it anymore. So I jumped on him. And right afterwards, I was like, can we just pretend like that never happened and go back to being friends? That would be great. And he's laughing and he's like, I really promise I am not laughing at you, not trying to do that. And I was like, I know, I know. I was like, how many women have you said that to before? But that's because I knew that the moment that I had slept with him, all respect for me had went out the window. Because anybody that would sleep with him must be extremely stupid, right? Anybody that would sleep with him must not have any self-respect at all. And the really sad part is, if you examine that closer, how awful must he feel about himself to feel that way? Wow. You must really hate yourself to feel like anybody that would even touch you is stupid. To lose all respect for anybody that would even touch you. Anyway, there was one girl one day that was talking about screwing him and all this other stuff the night before. And I was like, okay, you know what? I know you're screwing around with everybody, but that doesn't mean that I really want them paraded in front of me. So it'd be nice not to have them paraded in front of me. And he's like, I didn't know she was going to do that. I was like, all you got to do is know her for 5 minutes and everybody knows she's going to do that. Of course she's going to do that. You don't even have to know her longer than 5 minutes to know she's going to do that. But I was like, the only thing I really care about is let me know if you get into a relationship. At some point, I told him that. Let me know if you get into a relationship. Because I don't want to be doing that. Nope. So, at some point, I was like, he's in a fucking relationship. I know he is. And he was wanting to screw around, and I was like, no, that's not happening. And come to find out way later, he had been in a relationship for about 2 weeks at that point. And he had chosen that woman over me because, you know, she provided the stability, the safety, the comfort, the home, the money. And I was getting ready to move into my RV with no power, no water, no air conditioning, no heating, no nothing. No food. So he chose the more shallow way, the instant gratification way. He chose something that was not as important over the love. And for somebody who had never touched alcohol at all, really, all of a sudden he was drinking a lot of alcohol. He used to get out and exercise all the time, spend a lot of time in nature, hike, ride his bike. Didn't do none of that anymore. Gained a nice big pot belly. And this was all in like 6 months. 6 months. He had turned into that shell of who he was. And every time I seen him, I didn't even have to fucking see him. I could feel him from across the fucking room when I walked in. Because his eyes would instantly go to me, and then it would be, he's looking down. Ashamed. Guilty. Sad. Hurt. And knowing he did it to himself. Collaborations are going wrong, and they fall apart. So the people he's working with, situations he's working on, things he's dealing with, going wrong, falling apart. A lot of conflict, a lot of drama, a lot of fights and arguments in the situations he's involved in. And a lot of it's because he's busy hating himself and it's eating at him. And he's lashing out at everybody around him because of that. Gifts can be taken. They have abused their power one too many times, cut off spiritually. So this person may have had a lot of like seductive power, a lot of charm, the ability to effectively manipulate people, a lot of charisma. And they have abused that power and also that sexual energy. As a healer, you have a lot of sexual energy. You really do. That sexual energy is one of the things that boosts and gives to that healing. You have a lot of the ability to be able to connect to people in a very strong way, to feel their energy, to shift that energy. You have a lot of responsibility in your hands when you're doing that. And when you decide to abuse that power, that power can be taken away from you. If it can be given to you, it can be taken away from you. And this person is losing their powers. I don't feel like forever, though. They're just going to have to work really hard to get them back. It's kind of like on Charmed when Phoebe lost her power for a minute. Although in Charmed, she never did get it back, but which is weird. I think they forgot about it after they continued writing. I don't know. Appreciation and recognition comes your way, and they have to watch it. I feel like there's going to be somebody coming in that does cherish you, that does value you, that loves you, that treats you right. Somebody that causes you to feel like you're amazing and wonderful. There's going to be a lot of recognition coming your way, a lot of acceptance coming your way. Appreciation. Somebody who appreciates you, loves you, values you, cherishes you, wants to be there for you in the ways that this person wasn't. They're going to be watching it all. But that's also a lot of what is going to cause them to learn as well. As painful as it will be for them to watch this, they're going to realize that if they want somebody like you in their life, instead of lashing out at them in the insecure ways that they do, instead of treating them badly so they feel bad about themselves, so they never leave you, because that's what caused you. Instead of placing them as a priority and giving to somebody else, instead of not shift and deciding that you can deal with it yourself, and I just don't want to be around you right now, so I'm going to be around somebody that does make me feel good, getting validation from the outside themselves in that way. Instead of all of that stuff, they're going to be realizing that if they want something good, they're going to have to put into it equally. They're going to have to be just as committed. They're going to have to be just as loving, caring, empathetic, understanding, honest, truthful. And they're going to have to appreciate whoever's in front of them for that. But also, I feel like that's part of the reason why they're going to end up in some pretty bad relationships first, too. Because they're going to be overgiving. They're going to become that doormat. And they're going to have to deal with a lot of shit from a lot of people before they're able to balance it out. Because you usually go from one extreme to the other when you decide to change your behavior. From being completely non-committed and uncaring and ungrateful to overly grateful, overly committed, overly loyal, overly caring. And then being the giver who is taken from, instead of the taker of other people's gifts. So, let's see. Ugh. What comes out for the other one? Why is he intimidated by you? Your beauty, your intelligence, your kindness, the way you laugh. Once again, with laughing. So, truth brings justice because you are speaking the truth. Because you are karma, too, and he knows it. Taking action, she'll eat your heart out like Jeffrey Dahmer. Dark horse. Bringing a message of truth, quick action, that one last year that like brought that perfect world to crash it down on me. That song was very prevalent at that moment. I really feel like that's what it was in that case. The one that got away. I can't think of the name of that song right now, but goal-oriented, fighting for truth, eyes on the prize, watching truth bloom into action. The things you've said, the things you've spoken have come to life. You could definitely be clairvoyant or very good at manifesting as well. Justice is taking place. You may have actually even told him exactly what was going to be coming for him, and it is. Exploring what works or what was coming for other people, and he watched it happen in other people's lives. So when it came time for his abuse to be exposed, or what he was doing to be exposed, he knew and knows what he has coming to him for it. Planning for the future, playing cards close to the chest, growth like magic from the work you've done, planting seeds and nourishing them so things can grow slow and steady. Seeds have been planted. So he's intimidated by you because he knows that you're not sharing with him the way you have. And I know she knows. And I know she knows. She knows. She knows. And I know she knows. You may have actually even known immediately when he did something and you might have said something about it. He may have gaslighted. You knew that he wasn't speaking the whole truth. You're a very loyal, committed person. You're somebody very patient, calculating. You make plans and you take action on them. You bring them to fruition. This person may actually feel like you are planning something against them in some sort of way, some sort of exposure of everything that has happened in that situation. And because of it, justice is going to be on their ass. They may be afraid that you could put them in jail for something as well. I feel like somebody is afraid of me for that reason, or intimidated by me for that reason. Two of Cups, so they may be trying to be friends in a way, or bring peace and harmony to this situation in a way as well. They're intimidated by you because of your friends, possibly. Because of your power, because of your strength, because they feel like you are one girl in all the world chosen to face the forces of darkness. It's not one girl anymore, though. The gifts were given to all. He's intimidated by you because you fight the darkness, because you expose the shadows, because you bring out those skeletons, because you aren't afraid to face the mirror either, because you are not afraid to look within to understand yourself. You are not afraid to reflect on situations you've been in. He may also be intimidated by you because of something that he took from you, or something he tried to take from you, or some way he tried to emulate you, and that you already know, or you're going to find out the truth and you are going to expose it. He may have tried to, like a, what's that called? Like a, one of those lizard things that changes, chameleon, like a chameleon. He may have tried to distort his energy by kind of morphing into your energy, or using your energy to cover his in some way, to cover up some sort of something that he was doing. And now that your energy or your protection that comes from your energy or whatever it is gone, or will be gone because you're going to pull it back. Once you realize just how fucked up what he did is, you're going to be pulling it back, and he is going to have to face everything on his own. The witch, the earthly weaver of the worlds. He is definitely intimidated by your power, the transformations it brings, the awareness it brings, just how strongly it can burn. Let it burn. Say you're happy now. Once more with feeling. Once more with feeling from the Buffy soundtrack. All those hearts lay open, it must sting. Plus, some people just start combusting. You have the power to bring out their emotions. So, as much as you feel like you're being triggered by this person feels the same. They feel like you have the power, the capability, and the know how to bring out their emotions, and that you are calculating and planning a perfect time to do so, so that they are exposed and seen by the world around you. And once again, like we said a lot during this reading, if it wasn't for that dark side, we wouldn't be able to do some of the things we do or accept them either. We would think that we were evil for doing them when all we were doing was leveling the scales, leveling the playing field, evening things out, or even just exposing things for what they are instead of what others want to try to mask them as. Well, you know what? In my job and my position, I interact with everyone's energy on a regular basis. But if they ask me not to, or if I feel like they don't want me to, I don't. Kind of like the last person I was with. He triggered me a lot with the past abuse that I went through, which was crazy because I felt like it was more healed than that until he walked into my life. And there was once or twice where I didn't say no as quickly as I should have, or something along those lines. And one night he was pushing it again, and I knew that he felt what I was feeling. I knew he knew that I wasn't wanting him fucking all over me at that point. It was usually when I was like coming out of a sleep, like coming out of a fog kind of thing. And telepathically, I'm like, you know what? I realize this is how I learned to say no. I realize this is how I learned to say no. I already know how to say no. You know I know how to say no. I say no to people all the fucking time. Maybe this is how you learn that whether I say no or not, it is not right for you to be doing what you're doing right now when you know how I'm feeling about it. And he stopped immediately, and he never pushed it again. But yet still didn't want to admit that there was that telepathic thing going on. There was two other people that did. At least they were honest. And at the same time, they were pretty fucked up in their own ways. In his line of work, a lot of opportunists after his money and not truly loving him. Yeah. Well, and see, that guy I was talking about too that I had dated last year, he left home at 13. He was thrown out of the house by his mom because, or a couple years ago, because his stepdad was sexually abusing him. And when he told his mom, she didn't believe him. She took his stepdad's side and she threw him out of the house. He spent a lot of time selling himself on the streets. So it was really only natural for him to choose the woman who had the safe house and the money and could provide for him and care for him. When we're in that survival mode, sometimes we fuck a lot of things in our life up because of it. Instead, we need to be in that thriving mode. Sometimes it takes a long time to get there. Exactly right. Before the evidence ever even popped up, I knew immediately with the last one that did that shit immediately. Fuck, I've known pretty immediately with all of them, even though, you know, there was times I really didn't want to believe it at first. Damn straight. But we don't have to know to leave. We don't have to know. We already know. We don't need them to prove it. We don't need them to give us the evidence. We don't need to find the evidence. We don't need any of that. Even though we really want it. We want it. We want it. We want it. And I fucking get that. We want it. We want the clarity. We want the truth. Walk away and we'll find out the truth. Did they follow? Did they decide that they're going to make it up? Did they decide that they want to speak the truth now? Did they decide they want to take accountability? Did they decide they wanted to own up? That's where our self-respect comes from. Being able to walk away. Being able to trust in our intuition and trust in our own fucking mind. Trust in our intelligence. And not believe the lies that are coming at us. And instead to choose to believe in ourselves. Above average looks. Honestly, you shouldn't be too sexual. Personally, sex is just sex. That's all it is. Sex is just sex. Sex is sex. Now, to win my love, my respect, my heart, my trust, to earn those and keep those, that's a whole different story. Those shouldn't be given away so easily. The sex, who cares if you give that away? Because, you know, that's not nearly as important as your heart, your mind, your soul. Everything else that you are, your body's just your body. That reminds me of the book No One to Trust. Fucking great book. At one point, she's in a prison cell because this Colombian drug lord guy is having her held in this prison cell. And this is after months, about 6 months, of having him every day take her to this gym because he was upset that she was stronger than him and he couldn't break her. So he'd take her to this gym and they would wrestle and she would win. And then he would have her tied down and he would beat her and rape her every day for 6 months. And she tried to throw the fight a couple times, but he knew. So she had to slowly make it look like he was getting better and better every day until finally she was able to give up the fight and he could win so that he could feel like he was Mr. King shit. And then, anyway, she's in this prison cell and there's a guard on her having sex with her. A guard who she let have sex with her for a distraction. And she's just like, it's just my body. It's just my body. He can't take my mind unless I let him. He can't take anything else unless I let him. It's just my body. It's just a means to an end. This is what I need to be able to get out of here. And convincing herself of that. So, yeah. That's just the body. Everything else is what's the most important. Yeah, jealousy can be a bad thing sometimes. Competition can be a bad thing sometimes. I was mentioning that the other day when my ex was with me. I was like, everybody for some reason wants to compete with me, and the competition and winning is so fucking important to everyone. I don't give a shit about competing. I don't give a shit about winning. You're supposed to be working together. I don't know why nobody can just work together and see the beauty in other people while still being able to see the beauty in themselves. It's amazing the jobs you can get done and the things you can do when you are working together. 44, 57, and 11. It's amazing the evil things people can sometimes do when they're working together too. It is spooky at times to have things like that going on. I haven't seen one in a long time, but I feel them. I hear them. I bring forward a lot of messages for them, which reminds me, I've been thinking about it for 2 days now. I need to do a message from a lost loved one reading again as well, because there's been some messages that really want to get through right now. There are some chatty people over there that are wanting to talk. You're welcome, beautiful. And thank you so much as well. I really appreciate you trusting me to guide you on your journey. See you again soon. So we are going to do one more message on the karma of the people that you have dealt with that have been abusive in your life. One more message. Ghosting triggers self-esteem and self-worth issues. It also triggers abandonment issues. Although the people who are ghosting are going through very similar damage you have faced. It's kind of like a mirror reflection. You are reacting to that damage in one way, and they are reacting to that damage in another way. 922. So, because usually when people are ghosting and breadcrumbing and stuff like that, a lot of times it's not an intentional infliction of pain. They are running from that situation because of their own abandonment issues, or their own worries about something being too good to be true, or whatever the case may be. Or because they cannot tell you that they do not feel the same way about you as you do them. Or because everybody in their life is doing that to them currently. So instead of standing up for themselves and defending themselves, they're taking it out on other people, the people who actually do care about them. As they are chasing people that aren't paying attention to them, you're chasing them while they aren't paying attention to you, kind of thing. Physical overpowering triggers fears of not being strong enough to escape, fears for your life and for freedom, makes you feel alone and ashamed, and makes you feel like no one cares. So, you have dealt with people who have made you feel like nobody cares, nobody would be there for you. I was just talking about this, ironically enough, right before I started this reading with someone. Someone who was jumping into their carriage to speed off and rescue a princess. um, and I was like, because he was talking. I knew he was wondering what I was thinking at that point, because he was the way he was talking, and it was like he was trying to figure it out and trying to pull it out a bit. I was like, would you like to know what I'm thinking about right now? I was thinking about how there has never, ever been somebody like that in my life who did those things like that. And the few, I was like, there's nobody I can call when something like that's going on. I have to deal with it myself. I have to take care of the problem myself, and I can. I don't need anybody to do anything like that. Need and want are two different things. But boy, it would be nice to have somebody I could call on that actually cared. And they're like, I am that type of person. That's who I am. Maybe you finally met a different type of person. And you have been made to feel like there isn't anybody there that cares for you. There's nobody in your corner. There's nobody you can rely on. Nobody cares. Nobody loves you. Nobody would step up if you needed it. Everybody would just turn the other cheek and walk the other direction. There may have been a lot of jealousy around you throughout your life. Once again, with the scapegoating energy, too. There may have been a lot of people who made you out to be a liar in some way as well. There could have been people that were very popular that you dealt with, that everybody loved, and nobody ever thinks that they do anything wrong. And that's why they're able to hide their misdeeds behind that veil. But remember that all truth always comes out. somebody thought that they were doing something for the greater good. Somebody thought that somebody may have also ghosted you because they felt like that was the best thing they could do for you, was to move out of your life. They may have actually felt like they were making you miserable in some way, and they didn't want you to be miserable anymore. They may have also felt like they were doing what was right because maybe they felt like they were talking to you when they shouldn't have been for some reason. Maybe there was a friend of theirs that liked you too, or maybe they had a family behind them and they were doing what made their family happy. For some of you, this person could have been in the military as well, and they could have felt like whatever they were doing on that front was something good. And then all of a sudden, reality smacked them in the face. And if it hasn't yet, it will be soon. That reality is going to be smacking them in the face that they were doing everything to please other people, and that they were listening to other people and what they had to say and believing it, believing that they were doing right by the actions they were taking or whatever the case may be, when in all actuality, everything was completely distorted. And the things that they were doing, the person that they were being, the people that they were making happy, why you gotta make things so complicated? Nights like this, you fall and you crawl and you break and you take what you get and you turn it into promise me I'm never gonna find you faking. No, no, no. You're watching your back like you can't relax. You try to be cool, you look like a fool to me. Tell me why you have to go and make things so complicated. I'm standing on a bridge right now. There's nothing but the rain, no footsteps on the ground. I'm listening, but there's no sound. Isn't anyone trying to find me? Won't nobody come take me home? Feeling like you have no one to rely on or no one who cares about you. And sadly, this person, for some reason, thought they were doing what was right, or they were doing everything that they were doing to make others happy instead of doing what they wanted to do. Birds of a feather flock together. So their karma is, hey, they're going to be around lots of people like themselves, a bunch of fake phonies running around, lying to themselves, telling themselves they're doing something good. Working hard, take a break. Learning, teaching, inner work is tough, but it's worth it. Overcoming any obstacle, learning, growing, willing to learn through rest, reflection, willing to learn through rest and reflection. The fact that you are willing to learn through rest and reflection is half of this person's karma. Because I feel like, do I want to know? There's a song called Do I Want to Know? Do I want to know if these feelings flow both ways? Crawling back to you. Have you ever thought of calling after you had a few? So, this person may spend a lot of time really wanting to crawl back to you, apologize, wanting to express the truth, wanting to come clean, wanting to maybe even offer you a form of commitment, but they don't feel like they have enough to offer you. They also don't feel like their actions in the past, you would ever be able to trust them. They feel like they're a very evil person at this time. They feel very cruel. They feel like their actions were despicable. And they also know that you learn very quickly. So they're pretty sure that you've learned your lesson here and you're not about to open your door to them again. That is a part of their karma, knowing that. We are not meant to know everything. Be okay with what you know now and trust in it. Trust in the signs, the synchronicities, and the messages that are coming to you. You're going to be sitting on your throne. Somebody at some point said something to me about, I always wanted to know what it would be like to be with royalty. They still won't answer me on what they meant by that, but it don't matter. They still won't speak out loud of the things that have happened, but it don't matter. I know what happened. I know who I am. I know things are the way that they're meant to be, and that's okay. I don't need anything else. Have faith. Creating through the ashes. As the fire dies down and the smoke clears, there's a bunch of ashes on the ground, and as you brush those ashes out of the way or blow them out of the way as the wind comes through and clears the ash out of the field, you start to see all those new little trees spring up to life. Death is a part of life. Without death, there can be no life. So the endings of situations bring about new situations. As we close the door on the past and as we let it go, and as all of that falls away and out of our system, new doors open up for us to walk through. New doors with abundance and fertility and growth. New awakenings, new understandings, shifts in perspectives. New relationships as well. New situations. Situations that are stronger than before. When a fire comes through the forest and burns away all the dead wood and the sick and dying trees and clears everything out like that. And also even the strongest or the survival of the fittest as those animals are skittering away from there, things like that. That takes out the weakest of the population of all of those things. And the strong is what makes it through, and it breeds strength in the new coming opportunities. There was a video I watched earlier. It was a short video about death. And Death was so upset about the pain and misery that these fires had brought. He was hurting because of the souls that were lost. And life pops up and he's like, whoa, who would have ever thought you would see life in a place like this? And she's like, of course there's life in a place like this. If life needs to be anywhere, it needs to be in a place like this to bring hope and renewal, to bring joy after the despair. And she wipes away some of the ashes on the ground, and there's a beautiful little new plant sprouting to life right underneath all of that death and destruction. And then there was another one that I had watched where life was so upset because one of her toucans was hurting and was in pain and didn't think he was going to make it very long. And Death is like, you're holding on to him. You need to let him go. And when you let him go, he is going to die. He's going to transition into this new space, and that's okay. And so, after this toucan died and she let him go, he let her hold this toucan, the soul that was left behind. So, life comforting death and death comforting life. Two of the best friends there ever could be, yet so opposite. The sun and the moon, yin and yang. It's amazing how strongly those opposites attract to each other, because they both work in synergy together to create the world that we live in and the contrasts that go with it. So, creating through the ashes. You are going to be bringing to life a whole new world around you. From the death, the destruction, the despair, the pain, and the hardship that you have gone through. Ooh. All truths will be uncovered. They are crafty, but not crafty enough because people are seeing the truth. So this person worked really hard to hide what they were doing behind closed doors. Riley, actually, in Buffy, if you've never seen it, Riley was a soldier, and they were working on a very secretive operation, one that he thought was for the greater good of mankind, but what turned out to be a bunch of assholes in power experimenting on things they did not know anything about and creating much worse for this world instead of creating better. It's kind of like when that one psychologist back in the day, can't remember his name right this minute, but when he took those twins and he stuck them in separate rooms and experimented on them to see if the other twin would feel the one twin's pain as he was torturing the one twin. All in the name of good, all in the name of science, all in the name of learning and discovery. It's like all the experiments the governments have done on psychically gifted people. The pain, torture, and trauma that they have exposed them to and put them through throughout their lifetime so that they can observe them and see what happens in each situation, how they handle it, how their powers mature, and whatever else. All in the name of good, more than likely. But he hated himself once he saw what they were doing because he wasn't the one in control of it. He was just a puppet on strings for them to use. And I feel like some of these people are realizing that they were just a puppet on strings for other people to use. And that they never really thought for themselves. They never really asked any questions. They never really explored any further. You're somebody who's curious. You're somebody who doesn't just believe what's spoken to you. You're somebody who likes to find the answers yourself. Can't get any action anymore. Manipulation is exposed. So this person, if they, if you dealt with somebody that had manipulated you, deceived you, used you sexually, in some way, lied or created stories or pretended to be something that they weren't in some way. Like Barney Stinson off of How I Met Your Mother. Somebody that was a player, somebody that was using and abusing all kinds of women. It's like you came into their life as the final test on whether or not they were going to fuck with somebody again. And if they did, and they failed that test, now they're going to have hell to fucking pay. Hell to pay. So, their manipulation is being exposed. Their deception is being exposed. And this could even be if there was somebody above a person that was pulling their strings, that was manipulating them, that was deceiving them, that was using them as a puppet to act out whatever they wanted done to you. Kind of like the guy I mentioned earlier that couldn't take no for an answer a few years back. There was one night stand I had a few years ago. And it turned out to be the cousin and best friend of that guy since they were like 5. But what's funny is, I knew there was some kind of connection with them before I took him home. Part of me was really wanting to find out what that was. But yeah. People are realizing this person's manipulations. How they've lied. How they have hidden their true face and who they really are. And how they have used them for their own desires, their own selfish desires, to provide them with things that were necessary or to provide them with information on you to provide them with information on you that they could use against you. And so this person could have actually just been a puppet of other people, doing something in the name of good, or thinking they were doing something in the name of good, only to find out that they were being used and that they were doing something so fucked up that now they're going to have a really hard time facing themselves in the mirror or living with themselves. Causes creative blockages in others and holds people back. So, damn. There, which reminds me of the person that really didn't like a certain song I was listening to last year, Tyler Jane Energy. I think that's her name, is Tyler Jane. 'Cause I'm working on my energy. Filling up my cup and taking care of me. I don't know. It says something like, damn it. I know the lyrics. But anyway, they didn't want me listening to music like that. I forgive myself and I release everything that ever held me back. You're going to be forgiving yourself. You're going to be forgiving them. You're going to be letting go. And you're going to be moving forward. And you're going to be doing so fucking amazing. There have been a lot of people around you that have been trying to distort your energy, that have been trying to distract you, that have been trying to overwork you and get you so fucked up that you had no creative energy left, that you had no energy to thrive, that you had no energy to build, to grow, to level up. Because somebody, whoever this mastermind is, wanted to make sure that you stayed in a low vibration and never achieved anything. Because if you achieved anything, then it would expose who they were and all the lies that they had told. Because there would be recognition and appreciation on you, rewards and accolades. Could even be because they didn't want you to be better than them. Could even be because they didn't want you to leave them. And since you did, or since you betrayed them by walking away, they were going to make your life a living hell. There was this other thing that popped earlier that was something about they would rather have you die than to have you taken from them. So they could have also been, there could have been a lot of people sending some suicidal energy your way. Or trying to get you into that energy, into that void, into that blackness and darkness and despair. There was somebody at one point a couple months ago that they wanted my energy so bad, wanted to be me, wanted my destiny. And they went to take it and I was like, you really want it that bad? Here, take it. Take it. I'll take yours, take mine. And as I'm sinking into this black void further and further, I'm like, take that and do something fucking amazing with it. Change this world, make a difference. It's a heavy responsibility to have that. I don't want it anymore, though. I really don't. Who wants that on their back? And I was like, with this energy, I might actually just be able to take myself down to that river over there and just throw myself in and not give a flying fuck anymore. Then I can just go home and I can just be done. And I don't have to be responsible for making all those changes. I don't have to be responsible for doing all the stupid shit I'm supposed to do. For being in all the stupid places I'm supposed to be. I don't have to deal with all the people constantly attacking me. All the jealousy coming my way. All the fucking insecurities being dumped all over me in whatever way. And I can just take myself down there and put an end to this miserable ass energy, because this energy just needs to be taken out of this fucking earth. That's what needs to happen with this energy. By this point, he's like, no, 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 take it back. Just take it back. Take it back. I don't want you. I don't want it anymore. Take it back. First off, now he's in my energy, which is a very empathetic energy, and he sure as fuck don't want to let me die. He doesn't want to see me like that. So we switched energies back. And wow, to be able to see things from that perspective too. I remember being in that perspective at points in my life. I remember that darkness consuming me and never ending, a spiral and pit of fucking despair and awfulness. But he kept parts of that energy because it had touched him, it had been in him. If there was no empathy before, there is now. Compassion, kindness, love, care, shame, guilt, remorse. The energy that you have left this person with, the vibes that you shared with them, the kindness and compassion and love that you showed them, the beauty you brought into the world of darkness that they were living in. It's amazing how much of an impact you have because you have brought them a whole new world. And this person from this day forward is going to do everything in their power and everything in their energy to atone for that past, to make this world a beautiful place, and to try to bring themselves into that light and that beautiful energy. You made them believe that it was possible for them to be that on their own if they worked to heal and grow and love themselves and the world around them. If they started to notice, appreciate, and be grateful for everything. You made them notice that they have no reason to be jealous or insecure, that they have their own beauty and their own gifts inside of them, and they can use them any way they choose. But they are a responsibility. You made them question what they were choosing to use their gifts for and the power that they had, where it was going. You made them question their loyalties and where their loyalties have been placed and whether or not that was a good place for them to be. You made them question whether or not they wanted to remain a sheep for the rest of their life, or they wanted to step up the role of the wolf. And not the wolf in sheep's clothing, but the wolf that is standing there in its power, ready to lead those sheep and ready to lead them in the right direction, and not the direction the people who led him had led him into, or her. Oh, one of the picture messages got in here somehow. Yes, you unlocked things for this person. You unlocked things for this person. You unlocked this chain that was around their neck, this collar and this leash that they were wearing. You helped them to free themselves, but now they have to work away at all of these little links in this chain until it comes full circle and they can completely free themselves of what is dragging them down and holding them back and what is controlling them. They've been a zombie by others in power and control, getting caught stealing from family. So this person may get caught stealing from their own family. They may get caught taking what isn't theirs. They may have even stolen ideas from somebody in their family as well and made them their own. Somebody may have stolen money from their family. Somebody may have crept around in the dark, taking random things, and then stood there and told them defiantly that they never took anything from them. They don't know who took it, and just lied blatantly to their faces. But somebody may have actually said something about what they'd done or something along those lines as well. So somebody's going to be getting caught stealing from their own family. And family might have even been you for something as well. Synergy. All of these things have been coming together, though, for the highest good of this person as much as the highest good of you, as much as the highest good of the collective and the world around us. This person has a lot that they are going to be going through. It's like they've been thrown in this pot on this stove with the flames getting higher. The flames get higher. I fell into a burning ring of fire, and I went down, down, down as the flames got higher. And it burned, 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 this ring of fire, this ring of fire. So this person is going to be getting burned at every turn. They're going to be feeling like they got thrown into the fire. Some of them are going to be feeling like they got sacrificed. Some of them have been sacrificed. Some of them, the people they were working for, or the people that they were learning from, or the people that they were following in whatever way that they stole from, those people are throwing them under the bus as a scapegoat. Those people have lied about them, and those people have made sure that they are going to take the blame for everything that those people have done. Or at least they're trying to. I don't feel like it's going to work at all. But I feel like it's going to take a minute for this person to be able to prove their innocence, or it's going to take a minute for people to see what actually happened in this situation, and this person's going to be terrified. They're going to be terrified, and they're going to be alone in this situation. They may even be in a very suicidal energy themselves, especially if they were trying to put you in one. I'm not the one who's so far away as I feel the snake bite into my veins. Never did I wanna be here again, and I don't remember why I came. Freezing, feeling, breathing, breathing. I'm coming back again. I'm not the one who's so far away. So this person may be in a very cold position now or in the near future, where they feel very alone. There was one night that a very large group of people were playing that song and sending suicidal energy my way. That night I just decided, you know what? You guys can have this all back. Take it all back. It ain't mine. It's yours. Keep it. And then I sat in my own bubble of, yeah, you can't touch me. The hell's wrong with you guys? They have all revealed their true faces since then. And not one of them like me in any way. But I don't really give a shit. Not many places to go in this small ass town. So, you can share yours with me. Yeah, this person has a lot of negative energy coming their way. Let it go. Let it go. Can't hold me back anymore. I don't care what they're going to say. The cold never bothered me anyway. Who the fuck are we kidding? The cold always bothered us. That's the problem and the solution. Because if we actually examine that and look at it and realize it and admit the truth of it, then it has no power over us at all. It becomes completely powerless. Inner victory over fear, leaving behind the pain of the past, learning and growing. Learn to communicate through love and not pain. Recovering from heartbreak, getting centered. No more fear of heartbreak. So, as this person learns and grows and shifts and changes, they're no longer going to be the people-pleasing person who feels like they have to roll over and play dead, or who has to do everything that everybody wants them to do around them. Otherwise, they will have nobody around that loves them, because that is what makes them act the way that they do. You as well. You're not going to have any more fear of heartbreak. You're not going to have any more fear of loss, of death, of endings, of despair, of pain. Your heart's already been through it and it can take it. And there will always be something new just around the corner. The sun will come out tomorrow. Bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow there'll be sun. So stick out your chin and grin and say, tomorrow, tomorrow, I love ya. Tomorrow, you're only a day away. And we can wait on tomorrow. It's gonna be a good day. 'Cause ain't nobody gonna die today. Or ain't nobody gonna cry today. 'Cause ain't nobody gonna die today. And it's gonna be a good day. Chance to say goodbye. That's a really good song. And some of you may want to listen to that. There may be a situation in the near future where someone may come back to apologize. They may express the truth of everything that's going on with them and everything that they've done. They may be looking for forgiveness. They may be searching for peace. They may be trying to pull themselves out of this energy. And you may be being tested in this on your humbleness, your humility, on your ability to forgive, release, let go, let bygones be bygones, and trust in the fact that the scales have been or will be balanced on their own. And you don't got to do anything for that. What's coming to mind right now is Joseph, King of Dreams. First off, the song, you know better than I. You know the way. I thought I had all the answers. I thought I did what was right. And yet here I am in this place. And why do I deserve this? If, I was trying to do right and I was trying to do good, and that kid was sold for 10 pieces of silver by his brothers into slavery because of their jealousy, because of their insecurities, because they felt like their parents loved him more, treated him better, acknowledged his gifts more, and they did. Those parents really gave into favoritism. My ex has a tendency to do that a bit too. But personally, I like to make everybody feel good, not just some people. That's what you're going to be being tested on too. At the end of that story, his siblings come to Egypt, and at that point, he's in a very high position of power. Right hand to the Pharaoh because of his dreams and how they saved Egypt. Because of his gifts. His siblings show up there and they're looking for food because everyone's going through a very severe drought. And he knows who they are, but they don't recognize him. They have a new little brother with them, a really young little brother, and they seem to love him so much. First off, his jealousy kind of struck up too. Because why did you hate me so much, yet you're treating him that way? He planted a golden goblet inside the grain sack that the youngest brother was holding. And before they left, he had the guards cut open all the bags, and that golden goblet fell out of his bag. And every one of his brothers jumped in front of him and said, "Take me instead. Please don't take him. Take me instead. I'll take his place. I'll sacrifice my life for him." And he's like, "Why would you do that for a spoiled, younger half-brother who isn't even full blood anyway?" Because once we had a brother, and we know better now than to do what we did then. We've learned our lesson. And he invited all of them to eat at his table. Just like before he died, knowing the betrayal, Jesus invited Judas to sit at his table. He didn't say, "Get out of my table, Judas." No. He invited him to sit at his table and showed him what love was, even to his last dying breath. Showed him what love was. And that's why good karma is so often on your side, is for your ability to show that love. You are the best at what you do. And what you do is help people to learn, help people to overcome obstacles, help people to grow and expand. And it's a beautiful thing that you bring to this world. One that should be cherished and valued, but oftentimes isn't, or oftentimes is abused and hurt and put through a lot of cruelty. And with everything you have gone through, you should be damn proud of yourself for not being absolutely nutty or completely evil. Generally, I only do the free question session once a month during the first week of the month. But it doesn't have a future with the other person. Ask yourself why you are feeling the need to have something in your life. Why the old is dying out, and whether or not it needs to die out. You don't need to necessarily go directly into something new, but there is a reason. Do you have intimacy left in your connection? Do you talk to each other anymore? Have you been spending all your time working as hard as you can to fix the situation or to somehow bring back some sort of love and life to this connection? And this other person doesn't seem to give a shit? Does this person notice you anymore? Do they talk to you anymore? Do they even show that they care? Do they take you for granted? I realize marriage is supposed to be this most sacred thing that you're never, ever, ever supposed to destroy and blah, 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 blah. I've been divorced twice. And you know what? My first husband didn't give a flying fuck if I said no anymore. He didn't care if it was hurting me. Didn't care what I was going through. Didn't care if I felt like it. We had sex regardless. Should I have stayed with him? Simply because everybody thinks you should stay with the person that you married? No. I shouldn't have. I spent 3 years solid being screamed at, putting up with so much fucking abuse, so much non-gratitude, So much lies and manipulations. So many fucking burdens. And still was trying to fix things, was trying to repair things, was trying to bring them back. And honestly, not even back, because I started to slowly realize that back then wasn't so great either. Listen to your intuition, listen to your heart, and listen to your mind. Take some time alone to you. Put into yourself. Don't put into this person right now. Put into you. Get your hair done or do it yourself. I do my hair myself. I've been doing my hair myself since I was 13, along with everybody else's around me all the time. Bath. Good long hot bath. Nice walk at night to just find that peace. Put some time, energy, effort towards you and taking care of you and building you up. And you'll start to see things in a more peaceful view and in a lot more clear of a reality. Sometimes it is time to go. And generally, when we're feeling very attracted to somebody outside of our connection, and we aren't feeling that attraction anymore in that connection, neither is that person, no matter how much they want to claim they are, no matter how much they want to hold on to it, it doesn't matter. If it's toxic for you, it's toxic for the both of you. And somebody needs to have balls enough to walk away so that both of you can find that inner happiness and then be able to enjoy life with somebody next to you that's actually your best friend. Your partner should be your best friend. And if they are not your best friend, if you don't spend your time laughing and talking and having fun and enjoying life together, and all you do is spend your time arguing or being complete strangers or sitting in a silent fucking room, nobody's going to thrive in that environment. So ask yourself if you're thriving in your environment, if you're the problem or if your environment's the problem, because a lot of times the environment is the root cause of the problems you're having within you. And when you remove yourself, you're going to feel much better. And sometimes we don't see the issues as issues. If you're feeling super attracted to someone else, there's got to be some sort of problem in your relationship. And I'm not saying that you don't, because people feel attraction to others. Although I'll say this much, first 7 years of my marriage, I never once saw anybody else in that way at all. Not until my ex wanted to bring his best friend into our relationship. And then, guess what? Started to think of that possibility. And if people think you can't love two people at once, they're dead wrong. But at the same time, you probably wouldn't be looking elsewhere if you felt fulfillment in the connection that you're in and felt like it was all you really needed. Messaging someone behind the scenes, the future is kind of hidden from you right now. You may be blind at this current moment. I once was blind, but now I see. I once was blind. And I was. The problems that we had, I was blind to things that were going on for years. And then all of a sudden it smacked me in the face. And it was like, whoa, what? And then you look back on everything and you look at it in a very different perspective. The person you're with may actually be looking at other people too, or talking to other people. If a lot of that connection fizzled out and they're not paying attention to you, they're not talking to you, they may be hiding something themselves. You may end up running across some form of communication that they've been making with somebody, or somebody may actually reach out to communicate with you. 11155, it's going to cause a massive transformation in your life, but it's aligning you with your path, and it's causing you to feel fulfilled in and of yourself, feel like you are whole on your own. What popped into my mind was when somebody tried to blackmail my ex a few years back. She told him that if he didn't send her $350, she was going to send all the pictures and their conversation that they were having to his family and his wife. And I was thinking of it for a reason. I do not like being the bearer of bad news in that way, but your heart knows when things are over, even if it doesn't want to admit it. And even if you don't want to move away from things, and even if you feel guilty or ashamed of feeling something somewhere else because something else is finally touching your heart after years in a fucking freezer, there's some warmth. Don't hate yourself for that. Because everybody needs some fucking warmth in their life. And nobody wants to sit in that coldness forever. Alright, so that is what I got for tonight's message, guys. Love you all, and I really hope you guys enjoyed this. I appreciate whatever support you guys send my way. Whether it's liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing, leaving timestamps on my other channel, or on my other readings, or checking out my other channel and liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing over there. All of it helps me out so much. Really appreciate you guys. Anybody who donates, whether it be through Cash App or PayPal or the Super Chat stickers, Super Thanks, things like that, or through the Amazon wish list I got on there. Anybody who does anything to support this channel, thank you so much for that. As I'm here to support y'all on your path, it helps me to be able to support myself and take care of the things that I need in my life too. So, thank you all for that, and I really hope you guys have a beautiful night or day, whatever it is, wherever you are when you're watching. Bye-bye, guys.